Thanks for introducing yourself. Okay, so we're a couple minutes in, about 2, 3 minutes. So I think we're gonna start it off bit by bit. We'll start with some announcements, some things that are good to know. So for people who are tuning in on desktop, just know that if you want full interactivity, you will have to join the space on your phone. Then you can request to come on stage and you can ask your questions, stuff like that. So just so you know. Also, for people who have like a hard time following along, or maybe they're busy with other stuff, or they can't use audio, there's an option to get captions. So you do that by clicking the three dotted line in the top, right next to leave, and then you'll see almost at the bottom, turn on captions. So that can be a great option for anyone. Um, and finally, we'll say that as many of you know, our token is in beta. So we got Xmetric going on, and we're experimenting a lot with that. And we have been known to give out rewards for engagement in the past. So just a little reminder to put it out there. Other than that, yeah, let's start moving to like the actual interview and Q&A. So what today will look like is first me and Agaperse are gonna do like a little interview like you might expect to go. And while we're doing that, you can already post your questions in the thread. So again, if you click on the text box in the right bottom corner, you come to the thread and you can post questions or whatever reactions, whatever you want. We can have some interaction going on in there. Then at the end, we're gonna open up our stage for people who wanna ask the question live. So those are two options. You can either ask live on stage or you can drop it in the thread. So that being said, I want to introduce Aga Perste, our speaker and our guest today. She is Wizard Relations at Dune, which sounds really cool. Really cool. It sounds like you're working at the Ministry of Magic. And we met at DuneCon. You were hosting the breakout room there for people giving workshops, and we got acquainted, had a little talk, and in true Web3 fashion, it turned out we were already following each other on Twitter, but we just didn't know. So that was great.
Yeah, what a
uh,
moment.
yeah. It's classic Web3, I guess, with all the PFPs going on.
Yep.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
yeah, of course. It should be fun. All right. Wizard relations. What does that really mean?
Yeah, great question. When I left my Web2 job, I used to work at Fidelity, like a pretty big finance company. People were like, "What is your title actually? Wizard relations? Like, what does that mean?" And like my contract actually says wizard relations. And then I guess I just try to explain to people it's kind of like developer relations. Um, yeah, just kind of like building the relationship with the community and like guiding them through various things. So for me, I think being wizard relations is like working in the community team for Dune and really like serving our community to unlock their power
Mhm.
to conduct Web3 data analytics. So it's like serving the community at Dune, but also like the Web3 data analytics space at large, because I felt like I really benefited from like a lot of people helping me out when I just entered the space. So I want to, be able to give back in this journey.
All right, great. Yeah, definitely. Can you tell us? Okay, so I get that, but what does that really look like? On a day to day, like how do you do that?
Yeah. Good question. I think because the job title is so broad. It's a bit of
Mm-hmm.
a generalist role.
Mm-hmm.
And then from day to day now, I think I try to focus on two aspects. One is on the educational front. So, like, how do we build up like the foundational layer so that people can start entering and start contributing in the Web3 data space? So that will look like like guiding people through arcanas, which are these biweekly learning sessions that we have stream on YouTube, and just like pick a topic like a while ago, like 2 months ago about like OFAC was like sanctioning Tornado Cash and just like really like diving deep into what exactly does that mean and how we can like look into that with on-chain analytics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so like educational content like that, so that like to make sure like people can actually who are interested, who are passionate about data can like actually get into the space. And then another side I'm trying to work on is building that connectedness among the community members. So those look like running the office hours. Now it's like every week, and just like giving people a space to come ask questions, but also like a space to hang out and get to know other wizards, aka the Web3 data analysts in the space.
Right. Okay. Cool. What I love about that is that when people think, "I want to work in Web3," okay, but what jobs are available? And people think of developers, of course, and we will probably think of analysts as well. But I guess this just shows that there's so much more out there. You kind of have hybrid roles, and there are a lot of possibilities, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think one of the great things about the space, what the top thing that drew me in is how welcome the space is, and I feel like
Mm.
it's whatever you're drawn into, you are able to find your space, like your spot in the space.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Um, but okay, let's talk about that a little bit. So you got drawn into the space, but first, okay, so now we know where you are now, but where were you before? Like what you told us you were working in finance. Um, you told us you were a developer. What did you study? Stuff like that. Where did you start out?
Yeah, yeah, totally. So I studied computer science and finance in undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
Really no particular reason. It was just like, okay, that sounds like a combo to do, so just did it.
Cool.
So naturally, after graduation, I was a developer in the banking industry, and I was just doing this web development for enterprise loans.
Mm-hmm.
But like as I was coding day in day out, I kind of felt like that's not where my passion was. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not that I knew where my passion was going to be, but I just felt like, like looking at like my other colleagues who, like off hours, they would just like code on some project themselves. And like I just felt like that's not exactly where I
Right.
was drawn into. And then so like I was kind of thinking about like, okay, like what do I want? So at the same time, like I was talking to our users quite a lot, even as a developer. So I was like, okay, maybe I can be like the bridge between kind of like our financial people and like the developers. And then I felt like, okay, like maybe data analytics is kind of like the next natural step because you're like a little
Mm-hmm.
bit closer to the business side while still like remain technical because I
Mm-hmm.
still wanted to remain technical. So then like I went back to school and I got a master in analytics, basically data science. And then after graduation, I started working as a data scientist for Fidelity.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so I was doing like a bunch of like alternative data analysis stuff for asset management.
Yeah.
But I was still like coding pretty heavily. I was like still doing like web application development. But like I was able to kind of like start doing some modeling. So I was like pretty happy in my role, except that I kind of just one day I like started listening to Bankless and
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I remember why. Yeah. So my company was like telling us, okay, like you guys should like upskill on like digital assets, and like I was like, okay, like let me start like
Ah.
looking into it. So I like Googled like top podcasts to listen to, and like Bankless, of course, like came up, and then I just started listening to these podcasts when I go on my morning walks. And quickly after, I'm just like all my free time is like consumed in the Web3 world. Like I just need to really get into this world. But yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Oh, damn, that's kind of ironic and maybe a bit painful for them because they're like the reason you quit with them, right?
I mean,
Um,
the universe somehow planted this seed, yeah, and I guess it was
yeah,
through their hand a little bit. I had like people in my life who were into like Bitcoin, Ethereum, investing and stuff, but I
yeah.
never really paid attention until like my company was like, okay, hey, look into this. I did.
Hey, guys, I did, and actually, I quit. But yeah, I guess that's how it goes. Like often in life, right? Like you do a job, you do some work, and one thing just leads to the next. So it's cool to see that there was like kind of like a natural progression to it. Um, like maybe like a little bit of a side note, but what is it about Web3 that pulled you in that way, like that intensely?
Yeah, yeah. Good question. So I that was like a soul searching moment for me as well. So I was kind of like talking about when in college I just studied computer science and finance because there wasn't like a particular reason. So
Mm,
as I was working like all these years, I was just like thinking like what exactly do I find interesting? And to me, it was just like such a hard problem. Like, what am I passionate about is sort of equivalent to asking yourself, like, what's the meaning of life? It's kind of like the ultimate unsolvable question, yet you like ask yourself a lot.
yeah,
So I kind of just decided like I'm gonna give up on that and just let my curiosity lead me to wherever. And then I was finding out like with this whole crypto thing, like every day, all my free time in the morning, at night. And then that's when I also kind of started getting involved with Metrics DAO as well. Like it would just wholly like totally devoted building like Dune dashboards, like doing metric style stuff and just like talking to various people, listening to podcasts. And I was like, okay, I think this is it. Like this is my moment. Like I find my curiosity leading me here. And I think I want to give it a try and see where it leads me.
cool. Very again, very relatable. Not just to me, but I bet to like our whole audience right here. Um, the question just then becomes like, okay, how do you turn that curiosity into like an actual, like the next step? Like, what do you do? Like, what did you do to get there? What was your plan?
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say I had like 1, 2, 3 steps planned.
Uh huh.
I had a goal. I think I started seriously thinking into okay, I like want to enter Web3 beginning of this year. Yeah, 2022. Yeah, beginning of this year. And
Oh,
I was just telling myself like, okay, I would like to have a job in the space by the end of this year. So just like I just had a goal and I was just like I would just keep trying things.
mm-hmm.
So I just started looking at like open applications, and I don't know, just like talk to people that I know and like started getting involved. And I also wanted to like because I was interested in doing more like a data scientist, data analyst job
Uh-huh.
back then. Like that was like my target, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like having a Dune dashboard portfolio like is seems to be the way to go. Like
Right.
I don't feel like I need to like build sophisticated like web application. Like I don't feel like modeling was really like needed yet.
Mm-hmm.
But like just like people that seem to like land jobs or like seems to kind of like have a lot of attractions or like give useful insight on Twitter, they all have like a bunch of Dune dashboards. So I was like, okay, cool, like I'm gonna do that. And also like just on the side also kind of like look at open jobs. But yeah, but I would say like life is funny because you just like really never expect what you would find. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even looking at like a non data analyst, data scientist role. I would just like, okay, like let me build my Dune dashboard and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I was talking to someone in Dune, like Boxer. I was asking him for feedback, and then he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." He actually gave me the idea like of the dashboard I was building, and then I went back to him for like some feedback, and then he looked at it and was just like, "Hey, like there's just like other open job. Like, are you interested?" And then
Oh
like
wow.
that's where like I heard my current job, and that's where like I started a whole like interview process. So I would say like also like maybe not sometimes even if you have a plan, it doesn't exactly go with the plan. Like just be open to options.
Right. Okay, yeah, I get this team a lot. Like people, you'll ask people, okay, how did you get into space? And you hear a lot like, okay, just get involved, just take action, and people will say like something will pan out, like almost like
Mm-hmm.
magic, like
Yeah.
it's like something will pop up, something unexpected usually.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so you can relate to that, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Just start doing things, and let your curiosity lead you, and it will pan out. Yeah.
What are some things like concretely that you did? So like making Dune dashboards, you joined Metrics DAO,
Mm-hmm.
you looked at applications. Anything
Yeah.
else?
Yeah. Yeah. I think pretty similar to I was listening to Peter's like interview 2 weeks ago or so. So
Uh-huh.
just like I think I learned a lot through the job application process. So through different like job application interviews, like I was like teaching myself like ERC20 token, ERC 721 token, and I was teaching myself like just reading up on like Ethereum architecture. And then also just like in preparation for like maybe a job application, I started building like Dune dashboards. Um, and I would say just like start applying for jobs, and then they would have like concrete interviews, and like that's a great way to kind of like upskill yourself and learn as well. Um, let's see what else. Oh yeah, I did the I missed the actual like 30 for 30 hour network course. I was like
Oh,
just
damn.
2 months, I think, like a few months too late. But I went to I went back later and like I went through most of the video, and I felt like that was like kind of like a what do you say, like a more or less complete tutorial on like how to do Web3 data analysis. Like that was a
Yeah.
great starter for me. um, but yeah, so I think our network's 30 for 30, and then just like doing these job application interviews, you're just kind of like forced to learn. Like, I mean, you choose to do these interviews, and then you just like you just learn on the way, and then you just build Doom dashboards, and then you're there.
That's an interesting approach, I gotta say. Like, really look at it like an application is not so much like, okay, I apply, do I get it or not? No, it's actually like almost like a step on the staircase that each application will teach you something, and then
Mm-hmm.
you grow in the process.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
That
exactly.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then just want to quickly highlight. I feel like all the other things I said was more hard, like hard skills. And then
Hmm.
I definitely want to highlight that like being in metric style and like being in this data degen group that I'm sure a lot of people you know like Andrew Hall's data degen group, which in turn like also I found out about Dune group, like just having like a community of data people, Web3 data people who like the same thing, who like are there to support you and guide you through, was also really helpful because you just never really know, like you don't even know what questions you will have, right? So
Yeah,
like I just like them sharing and like talking about the things you're interested in is like pretty helpful as well.
that's super helpful. And actually, I don't know that group. Is that like a public group or what?
Is it a public group? It used to be a group that you applied to be in.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm not sure the status right now. I should know more,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's just like being in groups, like the Dune Discord, the Metric Style Discord, just having a group of people who are there, share the same interests as you are, and then you just like talk about it. I feel like that, because I felt quite lonely when I first got interested into Web3. I'm like nobody around me like are interested, so
No.
just like having a community, I think really helps.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we got a great community here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we're gonna open it up to the community in a little bit. We're gonna open up our Q&A. Before we do, let's do one more question. We talked about like your whole journey, basically. Like looking back on it now, what were like the biggest hurdles, the biggest challenges, the hardest moments? Um, yeah, anything like that.
Mm, yeah, I think number one came to mind is, I guess, the word chaos. Because Web3 is like a lot, and like balancing Web3 and like a day job was also a lot. And
Yeah.
then also just like by itself, you don't really know. which direction you want to take, I always got lost. I still get lost on Twitter.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say like information overload, and I feeling like chaotic and like directionless was quite challenging. And I think what helped is just be patient, like let your curiosity, let the universe guide you, and you will end somewhere. Like trust that you will be somewhere. So I think that was the number one thing that came to mind. Mm,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Okay. Trust in the process.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
All right. Um, awesome. Um, yeah, let's open it up to questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody who wants to ask Agape say a question. I see some questions in the thread. If nobody wants to take the stage, then we'll start off with the questions in there. Or did I just miss one? One request. The Vetaverse. Hey there. Hello, we hear
Oh,
you.
hi. Uh, Hi. I thank you for sharing the experience. It was great to listen to it. And I guess when you start with the Dune dashboards, I'm just wondering, was there one topic or one area that gained more traction than others? Because for someone who is new and just starting, there are just like so many topics. So we're just wondering if it was like an area or something that you feel like there are more interest there, and people may want to look there if they want to gain some traction and get more noticed when they first start.
Yeah, great question. Totally relate. Struggle with the same thing when I was putting out my first dashboards. Um, so I guess two part answers. One, when I was starting, I was just looking at like what's trending, and someone, I think Electric Capital, yeah, Electric Capital built a dashboard on Car-Fi on the Ethereum network, and it had like I don't know, like 20, 30, some sort of stars. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I hang out on Polygon Network quite a lot. I will like try to replicate the same dashboards on Curve but like on the Polygon network. And then that did like get me some traction. So maybe just like you can start with like a project you're interested in, but like in a segment, like on a chain that like other people haven't done. And then the second is just ask people, I guess. So for me, I just asked Boxer. I just had a call. I was like, okay, like exact same question you're asking, like what should I do? Like what's needed in the space? And he was just telling me, hey, like why don't you try this like Ethereum like network dashboard to kind of like give an overview of Ethereum network. And yeah, I did it. And then afterwards I tweeted about it. And it got picked up. And then it went quote unquote viral for me. It just like wow, for the first time, like there's a lot of likes and stars and stuff. Um, yeah, so I think just like either go with like a project you like, or you can like ask other people and see what they think.
Thank you. If someone asked you right now, where would you point people to?
Wow, putting me on the spot.
Just wondering, because you just gave us that question, so just thought, oh, we have
Yeah,
good people here,
okay.
so just want to ask.
Well, I think recently like NFT is like hot again, and then I was just like looking at what is this NFT called? Renga or something.
All
So
right, yeah.
I don't know if there's like already a dashboard, but maybe if you want to like look into Ranga. And like also I've been wanting to kind of like use what are they called? We recently onboarded Doom recently onboarded this like a community data set. And I was like, I was really wanting to try like Reservoir. So Reservoir data set has like a lot of like off-chain data for NFTs. So like I would say like also you can look into how to use Reservoir to enhance like on-chain NFT data analytics as well. Hopefully that
Thank
helps.
you. Yes, that is very helpful. I saw a reservoir as well. Maybe I will go to your office hours and ask you questions about that one.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for your question, Vetaverse. Okay, before we get to the next question, um, want to check in with our host. Marina, it's cool if we go over time, right?
As long as Agaporste and Helix, you both are happy, it would be great to learn more, and we'll stay for a few more minutes.
I'm super happy. Agaperste, how are you feeling?
Yes, likewise.
Awesome. Okay,
Cool.
and before we go to the next question, also want to point out that the Data Degen group tweet about that got shared, I think, by Marina in like right under the title. And I wonder maybe we'll share that one in the thread as well. So if anybody was curious about that, check the thread after our event, and you'll find some more information. Okay. Our I'm sorry, next person on stage. Um, Amp, Amp. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. Ambura.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to ask if you've had any experience using Flipside, and if you recommend that as a resource. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yes, briefly. So I was interested in near data, like this chain called this chain called Near, and then that was not hosted on June. That was like that is my primary go-to. So then I went to Flipside to look at the Near data. Actually, Near is like curated by MetricStyle, and yeah, so that was my experience with Flipside, and I did like a dashboard from there as well. Yeah, I would say like that also seemed like a great place to start if you're looking for like a data set that was like available on Flipside.
Awesome.
Hopefully that helps.
That I think that was helpful. Should be helpful.
Right.
Right? Ambura, was it helpful?
Yes, that was really helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on stage and sharing your question with us. All right. Next speaker, PCWCFA.
Yes, hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Agaperste, I understand you said right before you started looking into the Web3 space, you were at Fidelity. Doesn't Fidelity have a Fidelity digital assets arm? And I believe they were on all kinds of finance TV like Real Vision, seeing that they were actively recruiting. So just want to know what made you choose to go the other direction, which is joining MetricStyle. I forgot this other Data Degen, instead of looking within, let's say, Fidelity.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, I was exploring a lot of options and definitely internally within Fidelity at the time. And to me, I still think back then and still now, I'm primarily interested in doing data analytics type of work instead of either trading or building out portfolio, or building out the infrastructure, like the software infrastructure to do those. So internally, the opportunity to analyze crypto data is actually quite limited. There is a team that does that, but yeah, it's pretty much like filled already. So that was one reason I wasn't finding what I was interested in to be available. And also the people in Web3 was really drawing me in. I just felt like I craved to be in the true Web3 world vibe a lot more. And yeah, I just decided to jump into Web3 fully.
Can I ask a quick follow-on question to that?
Yeah.
So besides asking you to educate yourself, by your previous employer, was there any active education on their part, or meaning were you actually allowed to do the work you're interested in during your daytime?
So first they had like a lot of big companies, they would have like internal trainings that you can do, but I would say I checked them out. They are pretty like for me it was just like I was like, okay, like a lot of podcasts that I listen to already cover these topics. So yeah, I didn't really spend like too much time doing the internal training. And sorry, what was the second? Oh yeah, the second, what was I allowed to do things? Not really,
Right.
because I think it depends, but I think if you really wanted to, you can like request or not. But for me, like there was, like I said, I really like my day job actually, except that it wasn't in crypto. But it just doesn't have anything to do with crypto, so I couldn't really do Web3 stuff at my job.
Okay, understood. I kind of second that experience as well. Thank you.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you for your question, Patrick. Okay, we can do a couple more questions. We got KNFE who's on stage, and we also got a couple questions in the group. One from one Chioku that we'll get to. So let's go with FKNE. KNFE. Not told me what. Feel free to pop your question.
Hello. Hello.
Hey there.
So I'm 3 weeks old in this space of blockchain analytics and in fact data science. I just recently picked it up and I discovered it's something very useful. Something I can actually build my Web3 career up on. So but there was a period in time I just decided to just go search for jobs online, data analytics jobs on blockchain online. And honestly, I could only find few. I could only find few. But I realized that there are so much bounties, and on the other side, there are really few jobs about really few jobs on data analytics. So it get me wondering, is this really going to be something that people will want to get is it going to be something that there are going to be more job opportunities in the future?
Great question. Yeah. So yeah, it's looking for jobs, and you found a few bounties, but how about job opportunity in this space, in the future and going forward? What do you think?
Yeah, great question. I feel like even though we are in this bubble together, we're like saying WAGMI every day together. This is still like a pretty early stage for the industry as a whole. So I totally feel you on, there isn't like maybe an abundance of job compared to more Web2 industry just yet. But I think a lot of us are trying to work toward that. And I mean, I'm in the space, so I have the conviction that, and have both the conviction and the hope that we'll have like a lot more jobs coming. So more concretely, I guess there's this Wizard job board. I don't know how do I. So if you go to dune.com /wizard dash jobs, you can already start looking at like what jobs are available. And Helix, I don't know if you know more from like metrics style side, because I think as an industry as a whole, we're like already trying to curate like a better experience for everyone who's looking for a job.
Yeah, I can relate to this question so much. Of course, everybody here is either in the Web3 space or like working on it or in transition. So these are definitely questions that are on your mind. And, the macro right now is a bit rocky. On the upside, despite the bear market, I see our space as holding up, and it's looking pretty healthy, to be honest. When you go to conferences, people still talk about getting hired, no massive layoffs, stuff like that. So it's really hopeful, I think. But yeah, at the same time, it is definitely a bit of an adventure. The Bankless podcast, they always talk about yeah, we're going out west, and hope you're on the journey with us, stuff like that. And it's kind of jokingly said, but there's definitely some truth to it. I guess there is less security than a traditional job, But the upside is that there's also like a lot of rewards for the people who will be early in the space and kind of front run um, like your a career, you know. Um, More specifically about metrics DAO, we're working on bounties, and there are some bounties coming. Um, Other than that, yeah, I guess you'll just have to keep an eye on it.
Yes, on this journey together, we
On
are
this,
going to make it.
why me?
Yeah.
Thanks for your question, KNFE. Okay, should we do a final question? I promised One Chioku that we would get to his question, and I actually found it pretty funny. Um, Let me check. Okay, one I was very curious about myself. What is your PFP supposed to be? Also, funny funny question. What do you tell your parents that you do for a living? I tell mine I'm a consultant in magic internet money. Yeah, that
Love it.
covers
Love
that.
it. Magic internet money. Yes, PFP. PFP, I wanted to convey some really vague ideas. So I worked with someone to come up with this drawing. So it's supposed to
Oh.
be a yeah. I just have these like abstract ideas. I'm just like, help me turn them into concrete pictures. I knew I didn't want like a person. I wanted some sort of animals. And then so this picture is a koi fish turning into a dragon slash also Qiling, this other mythical creature. I wanted both. I was probably I'm like the kid that like, oh, I want both. So koi fish turning into a dragon just symbolizes kind of like persistence, like hardworking. Because there's this legend where the koi fish keeps swimming and swimming, and one day he was able to kind of like jumps over this I don't know that this big door fence thingy, and then he turned into a dragon. And then also Qiling, like the other mythical creature, it's supposed to kind of look like symbolizes the compassion for like love for humanity, and I wanted to kind of like remind myself of that always. And then there's bamboos on the background. So my nickname in Chinese is bamboo. Bamboo is one of the 4 national flowers in China, and it's supposed to symbolize like integrity and also kind of like perseverance. So yeah, I had words like ideas that I wanted to kind of remind myself to live up to, and then I worked with someone to kind of like realize them in symbols.
Wow, that's deep. So, yeah, so much going on. I love that.
Thanks for asking.
Now we all want our own NFT.
Yes. Oh yeah, and then I guess what do I tell my parents? I don't think my family really knows. I think there's like my mom knows I'm in the crypto space, but that's it. Yeah, I haven't even attempted to explain what I do.
But how do you mean? Like, what do they think you do then? They still think you work at the bank?
I think most of my
Or
family still
Fidelity?
think, yeah. Most of my family probably still thinks that I'm working as like a data scientist at Fidelity. And then I've told my mom that I like work in crypto, but then I don't know. I think her idea of crypto is just like Ethereum going up, Ethereum going down. She would like send me these things about like crypto industry prices and stuff, and she like is like worried, and I'm just like, it's okay, it's okay.
Oh, that's so funny. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, yeah. What do you tell your parents? It's also a testament, I guess, to the thing that we're in, and that it's so new and it's constantly evolving, and it is hard to explain to other people who are definitely from like not so technical or like a few generations back. Like it's hard, but that's also what makes it cool.
Yeah, I think with parents, you also don't want them to worry too much. So
I work at a bank, Mom. I'm good. Don't you worry. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think we can close it out. We can maybe do one more question if somebody wants. They can request. In the meantime, I'm doing some closing off announcements. Really, really want to let everybody know that this is not the only talk Agaperse is doing with us today, but next week she'll actually give us a taste of everything she's been talking about and do a demo on Spellbook. Am I right?
Yes. Next week we'll dive into how do we do this whole open source data analytics thing, which is ultimately like what really drew me into the space, the ethos of the space. So we can see how we can execute that in real time.
Very cool. And I shouldn't say demo because it's actually a workshop. So people who are interested, just check out our Discord and we'll drop it in this thread as well. And you can check it out next week. Second announcement, very cool stuff. If you loved it today, and I hope you do, personally, I really loved doing this, had a lot of fun, and we're going to do more of this. So we got at least 2 more people lined up for interviews, and we're planning on doing these like every 2 weeks. So if you liked it today, keep an eye on our Discord, our Twitter, and you'll find out when we do the announcement. All right. That being said, I don't see any requests for a final question. So I think we can close it off. I really, really want to thank our audience. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for, sharing your enthusiasm and your curiosity with us and with Agaperste. And also, of course, thanks to you, Agaperste, for sharing your story, for being so open, for being so candid, and just sharing your insights on all of this.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being a great host, and thank you everyone who have come. Excited to keep on going this journey with everyone.
Definitely. Let's close it out on that one. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.